the Capture Your Confidence podcast. Today we are talking about imposter syndrome and why we don't actually think it's a bad thing and how you can leverage it in your confidence building journey.
Yes. And I think it's important that we kind of level set and define what we mean when we are talking about imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So I found this definition that I like. It is self-doubt of intellect, skills, or accomplishments among high achievers.
Yeah. And, first of all, I think it's fair for us to just qualify the room. I highly doubt you're listening to this podcast if you're not a high achiever.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty common that most women who are ambitious in whatever capacity they're trying to build, whether it's a corporate career or a business, they find themselves in a situation where they feel like they're imposters.
I think the other important thing to recognize is that we are all at some point going to doubt whether we can hang. I think that's normal and natural.
I was having a conversation the other day with someone who was trying to tell me that they've never had imposter syndrome. And I was just so caught off guard, but how? Because I experience it so often. And I have a theory about this, which is that I think if you're a high achiever, you often set the bar at a place that feels unnaturally high. And so when you're going after the thing that you want, you often will think, oh, who am I to be doing? What was I thinking? Kind of a thing. And I just think maybe this person sets small incremental goals and they don't have any of these big stretch goals. So they never get in a situation where they feel like, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah.
But I just feel like every Tuesday, I'm like, wow, oh, okay. Here's the time of day or here's the time of the week where I think, wow, that was, maybe I'm out of my league here.
Yeah. And I think part of it too is getting rid of the stigma from the term. I think it carries such a negative connotation, like you're an imposter, or you're fake, or you don't belong here. But I think it's normal. I mean, it's okay. There's lots of times where I doubt myself. I still keep going, but that doubt and that imposter syndrome to me has never carried a bad or negative connotation. It's just a feeling.
Yeah. And I don't think you show up to a room pretending that you're someone that you're not. I hate this idea that imposter syndrome makes you think that you're lying or that you're just a facade. That's not actually true. That's just a story that you're making up about the way that you feel. You might have moments where you think, I'm out of my league. I have no idea what I'm doing. But the fact of the matter is, if your intention is in the right spot, if you're showing up with a willingness to get better and to grow and try, I don't really think you can go wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with you being a little bit out of your league if your intention's good and you're trying your best.
Yeah, because I think the opposite, the other end of the spectrum is, well, I think I'm super qualified and I know everything and there's no room for error. And that's not a great place to be in either.
Haven't we all worked for that guy?
Right?
Don't we know him so well? I know that guy.
He's not a great guy.
He's not a good boss.
Right? I mean, he's not someone we want to be like. And so, I think a little bit of the imposter syndrome or self-doubt, or we can label it however feels best to you, is good. And it can actually play a really positive role in your confidence journey.
And one of the things that I've started to do is just kind of catch myself in the moments that I'm feeling this way and just kind of giggle with myself.
Yeah.
I picture myself being a kiddo that's just trying a new thing. Or I'll never forget whenever I studied abroad for the first time, I was in Luxembourg and they speak Luxembourgish there, which is this nasty hybrid of French and German. So I had no idea what was happening. And I missed the bus. I couldn't make it to my first day of classes. I'm trying to learn how to read the signs. And it took me 3 hours to get to campus on that first day. But I was sitting on the train with my knee bouncing, so excited and giggling that I had figured it out. And so I just try and plunk myself back in that space of oh my God, I'm figuring it out. This is so cool. It's a whole new world. It's a whole new thing I'm doing. And so I just try and adopt that attitude about imposter syndrome instead of this you have no idea what you're doing. Who do you think you are? Right? The voice matters so much. We talk so much about this.
I know. I was just going to say, this is self-talk.
Yeah.
This is literally the first prong of the confidence formula. And imposter syndrome is impacting how we talk to ourselves.
Yeah. And so, I mean, pay attention, right? Whenever imposter syndrome shows up for you, pay attention to the way it sounds when you're narrating that story to yourself. Or the first shift that you can make is, of course, one of curiosity and kindness and empathy instead of one of shame and frustration.
Yeah.
Not to say you're not going to feel frustrated about not being perfect or great at something that you start, but you can still be nice about not being great.
Yeah. I mean, there's a huge difference. I think both of these exhibit imposter syndrome, but the self-talk is very different, right? So I could be in a situation where I don't really know what I'm doing, right? I trust that I can figure it out, but I don't really know what I'm doing. And so the self-talk of, hey, this seems challenging, but we've figured out things before. We'll figure this out. We will find ways to get help. We will use our historical knowledge. We will figure it out, right? And we trust in ourselves that we can do that. Versus you're in the same position. You really don't know what you're doing. And you're like, dang, like, why don't I know what I'm doing? I don't deserve to be here. Everyone else must know what they're doing. It must just be me. I'm shooting too far out of my league. You know, it's all my fault. Right? Those are two exactly the same thing, but two very different ways to talk to ourselves about the same situation.
Yeah. And I'm just sitting here realizing the unfair advantage that you and I both have in this, in both of our roles as coaches to people who are helping someone else stretch and grow. We are privy to the internal monologue and narrative of other people in a way that other people are not. So we're lucky enough that a lot of people come to us and ask us how to build confidence. And so we move through this journey of hearing the way they talk to themselves and helping them reframe and change it. Whereas a lot of you, the only subset that you have is a subset of one. The only conversation that you've had around this is the one that you've had with yourself. And so you just might not understand what it sounds like to have a different voice.
Yeah.
And so if that's you, I just want you to know that that's okay. And that you still get to decide what that voice sounds like. And I encourage you deeply to get a friend that you feel close enough with that you can have these kinds of conversations with. Because it's really eye-opening when you hear the way a friend speaks about and to themselves about things. It really helps you understand, like, oh man, I'm harsh.
Yeah.
Like I really need to change the way I talk to myself.
Yeah. And I think, you know, it's really important to, if we can create this culture of embracing imposter syndrome, right? And not making it such a villain and just embracing this notion that like, we're not going to know everything all the time and it's okay. Like both things can coexist.
And always,
you know?
Yeah. And just maybe the next time that you feel out of your league, can you do two things for me? Number one, can you say, oh my gosh, I'm growing. Like this is the signal that I'm growing. And number two, can we adopt a more childlike curiosity of like doing a thing that we've always wanted to do for the first time instead of I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm ill-equipped, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think those two things will change everything for you if you can look at it that way. And I never get upset with myself that I feel out of my league because again, if it's Tuesday, it's probably time for me to feel
Whitney's out of her league,
out of my league every single time. Right. And so it's just like oh my gosh, hey, we're learning and growing and evolving kind of a feeling.
Yeah.
I think once you figure that out though, once you master that, you've really figured out the game of confidence building.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So hopefully this episode gives you some things to think about. Hopefully you're now starting to question, you know, do I feel that imposter syndrome? What is my relationship with it? Do I view it as a positive or a negative? And hopefully we have given you some tools to hopefully switch it from a negative to a positive.
And if you're one of those high achieving unicorns that does not experience imposter syndrome, will you please slide into our DMs and give us
let us know why.
some information on how your brain works? Because I gotta know.
Yes. Yes. We will talk to you guys soon.
Bye, y'all.